So over the past 5 months, we've been building this fake Lamborghini Drift car, which actually started life as a BMW E36 that sat on my friend's farm. In the last couple of episodes, we've finally laid color on this thing in the beautiful midnight purple, and we fitted these amazing Workmeister M1 wheels. But the keen viewer may notice this is not my workshop. We are in fact here at Paulson Automotive, surrounded by beautiful Holdens and Fords, and of course, my good friend Bailey. So the reason we are here is because Bailey is going to be doing a bunch of fab work on the car whilst I leave him and I'm heading away camping. So
must be nice.
Must be nice. So I have to spend a bit of time with Tara, but we have about 35 days or so to finish this build, and I was panicking a little bit. But then Bailey said, hey, why don't you drop the car off to me? I'll do the fab work while you go away and relax at the river camping, fishing, golfing, or whatever. And I was like, dude, what a deal.
I'm a nice guy.
So tell us your initial thoughts seeing the car and the fab work you have to do.
It looks really easy. The only tricky part is the plenum, right? Because we've got to somehow get air to go in all these runners. So we're gonna have to create a plenum that somehow fits in this gap, which isn't huge.
Well, usually like the stock one would be up here somewhere. It goes like up and over the motor. We can't do that, so.
Too tall, so yeah. We'll see how we go. So
Bailey has his own YouTube channel. It is the top comment in this video. Make sure you go check it out. He has a barra powered R33 Skyline, which is crazy, makes a massive amount of power. He built it on his channel, and his channel's growing beautifully, so hit that sub button on his channel. But he is taking over the vlog from here on out. Without further ado, enjoy Bailey's dulcet tones in this beautiful vlog, and we'll see the car when we get back.
I think we'll begin by modifying the turbo itself. Now, keen observers would have seen me make this manifold a few episodes ago and noticed that I didn't put a wastegate port on it. The reason for that is originally I was thinking of doing something here, but the priority to the wastegate probably wouldn't be enough going in here. Also, it's quite tight. The best option for us is going to be chucking our wastegate off the rear housing. What this also allows us to do is run a sick hood exit out here. We'll do a nice little teardrop for Mikey. On top of that, we're gonna have to lop off this 4-bolt rear flange. So we'll be replacing this with a V-band, which makes it nice and easy to fit on and off. The compressor housing also needs a little bit of work done to it. So we're gonna have to chop off the outlet of the compressor housing as it's a little bit close to this front runner here. So if we were to run a silicon joiner straight off of here, there's a good chance it would melt or touch on this, and on a car like this, we don't want that.
Editing this video and watching Bailey go about his work was really satisfying and definitely gives you a greater appreciation of the time, effort and patience that goes into this kind of fabrication. First up, the turbo needed to be disassembled and the rear flange chopped off so the V-band flange could be welded on to allow for easy removal of the dump pipe. Then the front housing needed to be modified to bring the outlet away from the turbo and the heat that it will produce under heavy loads. Once that's done, it's time to install the wastegate flange. We decided to mount this off the rear housing as it's basically the only spot that makes sense and allows for really easy boost control without the risk of boost spiking.
Alright, so I've got the rear housing back on the car now with the wastegate in position. Now we're up to the fun part where we have to vent the gate out of the body somewhere. I've gone for a teardrop. I've just cut this up and sharpened it a little bit. We sort of have to figure out where on the body it's going to exit. The easiest place will be up here. I know Mike was kind of concerned for his windscreen. I think it would be kind of funny if it melted. Okay, no, I don't actually think it would be funny if it melted. But I don't think it'll really be an issue. It'll be hot, don't get me wrong, but I think the windscreen will be safe. We will need to make a metal plate to protect the bodywork around here. Alternatively, we could come out the front bar somewhere around here. Man, that actually doesn't look too bad. I'm sort of stuck. Like, do I go out here? Do I go out here? I might flip a coin. Heads it comes out the top, tails it comes out the side. Oh, it's going out the top.
You always love to see someone using a coin toss to make a very serious and important decision about cutting a hole in a very rare fake Lamborghini shell. Luckily, Bailey absolutely nailed this one and it looks amazing.
So we've got the wastegate in position now with the screamer. The turbo's all back together. It's starting to come together pretty nicely. I think I might tackle the cooler piping next, just on the hot side. If I get the hot side cooler piping done, it's gonna start looking really good and it's gonna motivate me more to do the rest of the car. Not that I need motivation, I mean, this is a pretty sick build, so.
So I'm not sure what Bailey's building here, but it looks to be some kind of rocket ship. Yep. Oh, yep, definitely a rocket ship. That's the top of it there. Mark that off nicely. Yep. And then, oh, that looks to be the exhaust of the rocket ship. Looks nice there. And, oh, no, scratch that. That is the intercooler pipe. Well done. Nice.
Alright, I've been putting it off for long enough, but I think it's time to start tackling the plenum now. Originally, I was thinking of running sort of a top-mounted sort of plenum that would feed over the motor, kind of like the OE ones do. But the problem we've got with doing that, with the rail in place, is we just don't have the clearance for it. Even if we were to chop these top mounting tabs off, we would still struggle for space. As the rail sits so tall. You could get shorter injectors, and yes, you could run an aftermarket rail to sort of move this a little lower down, but you got to think serviceability wise as well, because our plenum's basically going to be a one piece all the way from the lower runners to the throttle body. Having access to the injectors and the fuel rails is going to be kind of important. So I think what we're going to do now is plate off the runners, build up a chamber, and then run it sort of over the top here. I still want the throttle body on this side of the motor, facing probably this way, just for the cleanest routing of the piping, but we'll just sort of play this by ear now, and we'll just go for a forward-facing style. Now, I'm not the greatest at explaining my methods, so I think I'm just gonna start making this thing, and hopefully it sort of becomes clear what I'm going for as I start making it. To begin with though, we need a base for our chamber. This is just a flat piece of aluminum with some holes to match up to our ports. A weld on the inside of the ports as welding on the outside. Getting access to areas like that's just going to be too tricky. So here, very conveniently, is one I prepared earlier.
A few moments later.
I dubbed the mailbox. This should work pretty well for our purposes. It's not the prettiest thing yet, all right? It's not finished. Stop judging it, okay? I can feel you judging it. Stop it. I'm going to plate off this front end with a little reducer to go from 3.5, because this is 3.5 inch out of diameter, sliced in half pretty much up the top. So we'll get plated at the back, plate on the front, hole cut in it with a reducer to go down to 3 inch, because our throttle body is 3 inch. Oh, by the way, throttle body. This is off an AU Falcon. I had to go to the wreckers to buy one. I didn't actually realize when I pulled it off that it's oval, so it's just over 3 inch. It's like 3.25 inch, but this has a TPS and an IACV, and I'm thinking if I put it somewhere around here, we can kind of tuck the IACV behind this front plate and retain it without it looking terrible. At least if you can retain an IACV, you can control your idle way easier, which means if you get off the throttle, it's less likely to stall. So I'm going to try and tuck that away from Mike. Okay, so I think I've got the throttle body in a place that I'm happy with now. It's sort of tucked over here on a downward slope just for bonnet clearance, because obviously the throttle body is a lot bulkier than the 3 inch piping we're working with. So we've got our TPS, which is nice and easy. It's cable, because it's AU throttle body, and I've been able to tuck the IACV sort of in like this little space pocket down here. It's extremely tight, but I think maintaining the IACV will be a lot better for this build. I've been spending like the last hour or so just making this throttle body flange. It's not super pretty at the moment, but it's definitely functional. I don't have like a fancy CNC or anything here. I've got that bandsaw over there, which I couldn't use because this is a large plate of 10 mil thick aluminum. I literally cut it with the grinder twice because on my first attempt, I'm sure some of you will recognize that, and I'm sure some of you will feel my pain, but I snapped a tap on the second hole. But I'm thinking it's looking pretty good. The pipes are a bit dirty. Now I'm going to weld up this flange onto our, technically this whole thing is our intake manifold. So I'm going to weld our flange onto our intake manifold. I'll finish off by making the cooler pipe for the cold side here. After we've got this cooler pipe done, that basically concludes everything done in the bay, and we'll move on to under the car and out the back. So we now have an intake pipe, which is all pie cut out of necessity because it's real tight in the front, so we couldn't just use a normal bend. We had to pie cut that. And the intercooler pipe for the cold side, originally I had it routed down this way and then under the rail. Doing that didn't actually allow for any room for the alternator to go in. So I forgot that existed. So we've remade the pipe now and it routes over the rail. I've started on the dump pipe, so that's in place there. Still got a weld and O2 bung on there. You might notice the car is on a hoist, which means we're going to lift it up in the air and do the exhaust now, which should be pretty straightforward. So I've pretty much wrapped up on the straightest of straight pipes. It's going to be extraordinarily loud. We've got one V-band section here and a V-band section for the dump. I've hard mounted it to the chassis in 2 spots. Like, this thing is solid. It is one with the car, essentially. So just in case this car wasn't comfortable enough for the driver or passenger, now it's going to be extraordinarily loud in the cabin, which I think will just add to the whole experience of this thing, you know? All right, so the car's back off the hoist now. We've got it on the ground, and it's about time to do the rear section, which I have already started on. This part's gonna be time consuming. So it's all gonna be pie cuts from here on out.
I asked Bailey to create a really unique rear section for the exhaust, as it's such an important part of the overall look and feel of the car. This is where Bailey's skills as a fabricator really shine through, and I think he absolutely nailed it with this one.
Just like that, we are back from holiday, and I would love to say I'm feeling refreshed, but I'm actually more tired than when I left. But that's just kind of how it is on holiday. Like they say, you need a holiday after you get home from your holiday to recover. But I'm so excited to see what Bailey has done. You guys have seen more than I have. I'm not gonna lie, he has sent me a couple of picture updates, and I am just over the moon with the work he's done. I can't wait to see it in real life, so time to see what Bailey has been up to. I am so excited. What's going on?
Your car's done.
It is?
Yeah.
So this is kind of weird because obviously you guys would have seen the footage, but I haven't, and I'm genuinely seeing everything that Bailey's done.
I hope I filmed enough. It was tricky because there was a lot to do, and there were a lot of points where I had to put my thinking cap on, so filming wasn't my priority as much as it was making the car functional.
I did wonder about that, how much you'd actually get filmed.
Working within kind of a deadline makes it a bit tricky, but hopefully there's enough content for you guys.
Yeah, I was sitting at the river sipping drinks, and he was just sending me updates, and it's honestly the best thing ever. So I kind of got little dribs and drabs here and there, but look at this thing, absolutely insane. So Bailey kind of already ran me through everything he's done, and I'm sure you guys have already seen it in this video, so we don't need to run over all of it, other than the fact that you've just finished the exhaust, which is like absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Exactly what I had envisioned, which is kind of awesome.
Yeah, so we've got 18 pie cuts that split into two from a single exhaust, big straight pipe. And I'm very glad I didn't do any more pie cuts than that because I am dead out of gas. I got nothing left in the tank. So
And it's a holiday period.
it is a holiday period, so getting anything right now is painful.
Wait, so what does that mean? You can't do any more work for now?
Not until the 6th.
Okay, nice. Well, relax, because you've
Yeah.
finished on this thing, but this is honestly my favorite part of the car. And once we get everything else in the rear end here as well, it's really gonna set the whole thing up, especially when people see this. But that's mad supercar vibes, which is very cool, and splits out the two exhausts exiting out the rear.
The big Bernie boys.
So good. And once we get everything else together on the back end as well, it's really gonna play out super nice. But I'm really happy with that. You happy?
Yeah, she's a bit dusty, mate. You might need to wash her.
Yeah, we've got a little bit more than just washing to do on this car. So I have literally hundreds more hours left to do on this thing, and we have literally 3 weeks now. So it's gonna be 3 weeks of non-stop work, not a lot of sleep, but I honestly couldn't be happier with the work that Bailey's done on this car. The intake manifold, the intercooler piping, look at this, the intake. It just looks so good. Of course, we're going to run a turbo beanie on this turbo, Raceworks turbo beanie to stop the heat getting into our inlet manifold, and we'll also wrap the dump pipe as well. But now this means that we can get Logan in to start wiring the car, which is good.
Keen to see that.
So first start should be, I think, in the next week.
That's not far off.
I know.
There's not a lot of time.
Well, I'm hoping we get it done in the next week so that I can kind of start feeling better about the following couple of weeks of getting the car ready for its debut event, which is Keep It Reed's Drift Fest. I don't even know if we've announced that yet, but this is probably the first time we've said it, which means I have to leave you, load up on the trailer. Appreciate you guys. His channel, first comment, go subscribe. I think his channel's been blowing up, so that's mad. Binge watch his videos. He helps, like, people like Bailey helping this build are literally what makes it possible. Without him, this thing wouldn't even be close to being done. So thank you, I appreciate you.
All good, sir.
Now we're gonna load this up and take it back to the shop and literally immediately get back to work on this car. So let's get it done. So we finally have the Lamborghini back in the shop, and I've got to admit, it feels damn good. Look at this work Bailey's done for us. I cannot thank him enough. Ignore the blue silicone joiners, they're just temporary for the moment, but we will be using black Raceworks joiners throughout the engine bay. But this thing is an absolute treat to look at now. I've just been standing and staring at it for the past 10 minutes. This wastegate placement is absolutely mental. Obviously, we're gonna have to make some kind of plate around here to protect the vinyl and the body of the car. And fingers crossed we don't melt our Perspex windscreen as well, but that remains to be seen. But there is something I actually need your help with. So down the back here, I threw the wing on the back of the car and actually taped some taillights onto the back as well, just to get a bit of a vision on what it's going to look like kind of when it's done. And I'm so happy with the exhaust placement now that we have the wing on. It completely changes the rear end. But what I need your help with is now I'm considering not running the big rear bumper that we had, because I think now that we've got all this starting to come together, we might not need the big rear bumper. I kind of like the look of this without it. Here in these gaps, we're going to run black mesh, which is what they run on the Diablo GDRs, and they don't run a rear bumper either. Of course, they have the exhaust coming out the bottom here, although I much prefer this look for our car. But I really like how you can see like the exhaust coming through the bottom here. We're gonna have Shockworks coilovers in the rear. You'll be able to see those as well through the mesh. It should look pretty darn cool. So drop a comment, let me know what you think. Bumper or no bumper, but dang, that does look pretty freaking good. And Bailey's work through here, oh, look at it. It looks so nice. Of course, I've got the bodywork to finish on the wing. I'm slowly chipping away at that off camera, and it's starting to come together pretty nicely now. And I'll continue to finalize that off camera, and we will spray that matte black closer to the end of the build when we're doing the final assembly. But that is it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed a little bit of a different video with Bailey in it. Please make sure you go subscribe to his channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. Of course, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and if you're enjoying the series. Also, feel free to share the series with a friend. I'm trying to make this thing go a little more viral, and a couple more views definitely wouldn't hurt. Of course, I've got more merchandise coming out for the Lambo very soon, and I will have merchandise to buy at Drift Fest as well from Keep It Reed. But thank you guys so much. I'll see you in the next video. I'm literally getting right to work right now, so non-stop for the next 3 weeks until this thing is finished. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Bye. Bye. I'm still tired from holiday and kind of falling asleep, but we have work to do, so I'm gonna keep going. Slambo has actual exhaust stuff, and I can't wait to hear it start for the first time. Okay. Oh my God, I'm so tired. Bye.